If you don't have much money and if you don't have much power, this is definitely a very bad time to live in New York City. It's a frightening time. The economy has been shut down for months. Hundreds of thousands of jobs have vanished. They may not come back. The neighborhoods of New York have been scarred by rioting and looting. And now, most ominously, violence is surging in what used to be, not so long ago, America's safest big city. Shootings this June more than doubled compared to the same month last year. On Sunday alone, 64 people in New York were shot, 10 were killed. It's obvious what's going on here. New York's leaders are indulging the mob, which works for them in the end. They're attacking police officers, are holding back law enforcement for normal people. Criminals and predators are doing what they always do, they're taking advantage. Weak and vulnerable people of all races are paying the price for this. This is not a concern over at CNN. Don Lemon doesn't care. He is a highly paid news anchor. For him, the shootings and murders are the stuff he covers on television, not something that affects his life. In fact, the whole thing's kind of hilarious. Watch.
Yeah, Democratic cities are in chaos right now. Is this what you want from Joe Biden? And they're going to take your country away, and they're taking down the statues. And
crime is rising. They defund police.
Oh my gosh, it's so bad. And they are defunding police. It's like,
wow. Talk about caught telling the truth on camera. And it wasn't the only time he did. On Tuesday, Lemon invited actor Terry Crews on his show and explained, correctly, that despite its name, Black Lives Matter doesn't really care about black lives.
You look in the city of Chicago, there are 9 children who died by gun violence, by black-on-black gun violence, from June 20th all the way to today. The Black Lives Matter movement has said nothing about this.
What does that have to do with equality, though, Terry? The Black Lives Matter movement was started because it was talking about police brutality. If you want an all Black Lives Matter movement that talks about gun violence in communities, including, black communities, then start that movement with that name. But that's not what Black Lives Matter is about. The Black Lives Matter movement is about police brutality and injustice in that manner, not about what's happening in black neighborhoods.
Now, if you're running a channel like CNN, you want dumb people on TV because they're compliant. They'll say what they're told. They'll tell the audience what the moment demands. They will never stray from the script, and that's exactly what Mr. Lemon is doing. But just 7 years ago, it was a different country, and people were kind of allowed to say what they thought was true. And so at the time, here's what Don Lemon was saying about black communities. Watch this.
More than 72% of children in the African American community are born out of wedlock. That means absent fathers. And the studies show that lack of a male role model is an express train right to prison. And the cycle continues. So please, black folks, as I said, if this doesn't apply to you, I'm not talking to you. Pay attention to and think about what has been presented in recent history as acceptable behavior. Pay close attention to the hip-hop and rap culture that many of you embrace. A culture that glorifies everything I just mentioned. Thug and reprehensible behavior. A culture that is making a lot of people rich. Just not you. And it's not going to.
Wow. Can you imagine what would happen if Don Lemon or his bodybuilding buddy over there, any of these hair hats, said something like that on CNN Tonight or MSNBC? That would be their last live broadcast ever. They'd be fired immediately. You can't express views like that. And so they don't. Tells you a lot.